align themselves with Florida State and their uncomfortable relationship with the ACC and its poor finances. We'll get to all of that in a moment. It'll be a nice little conversation, brother.
I can't wait, man.
Just you and I talking.
Yep. Cut out some of the fat. Got to the good stuff.
Ira's going to call us later today.
Let's hope.
We hope. Right. He's trying to gather information from a bunch of athletic directors who are not wanting to talk right about now.
Right.
So it should be interesting to see what he's able to glean. But even as we speak, more information came out just about an hour ago in which one of the beat writers covering Louisville suggests that they are now aligned with the other seven. So it's not.
So is it an 8 now?
Yeah, it's not Magnificent Seven anymore.
It's got to get to the Dandy Dozen at some point.
At some point, right?
The Elite Eight. How about the Elite Eight?
The Elite Eight, I like it. They should use that for basketball.
It's not a bad play.
They never really talk
rolls
about
off the tongue.
Yeah. Register Sausage sponsoring as always. I just bought some.
Talk about elite. Are you kidding me?
It is elite. By the way, Register Sausage is a meat company. That's what they are.
Yeah.
An elite meat company. And you can get registers anywhere. You can get it over there at Publix. I get it there all the time. Got it there yesterday. And we want to say, yay, sausage. So registersausage.com. Go check them out. Go buy a bunch of sausage.
Yeah, registermeats.com, right? It's the
I
website.
don't know.
Yeah,
I've never been to the website.
Google it, figure it out. You'll find it. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's ubiquitous at this point.
It's everywhere.
Registers is everywhere.
All right. So what'd you make yesterday? I haven't talked to you about it yet. I talked to Tom. I talked to Ira. I haven't talked to you. I thought it was exciting to hear more noise in the system, right?
Yeah, it's not just one toddler like throwing a fit. You know what I mean? Like it's all of them. It's an uprising of toddlers. Like they're taking over the nursery.
Yeah.
That's what it seems to me is like it gets some real legs when there's more than one school associated with. Yeah, Michael Alford and the board of trustees can have their meeting and that can get some publicity for 36 hours. But when you have 6 other schools joining the the screaming and it's not screaming as in it's a fit just to have a fit. Like
sure.
You're over here waving your hands desperately saying, we're trying to compete nationally. Help us out. We have to either get out of here or something has to drastically change. I don't think that's, number one, it's not surprising. And it's also not surprising. It's not surprising that Florida State would have that stance and Clemson would have that stance, but that other schools wouldn't join them. I don't know if this is sustainable. The ACC isn't sustainable when you look at what the SEC and the Big Ten are doing from a financial standpoint.
Not if you want to play big boy football. It's
right,
not.
Man. And you do.
And the thing is, though, and I keep waiting for one more thing. If Virginia puts their name to this, I think it's over.
You think so? You think Virginia's the one?
I think Virginia's the one because of the state politics and their connection with Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has already said they're in, which means they must have a landing spot. Virginia looks out for Virginia Tech. Remember when we did this the last go around? There are political partners, and they have strong representation in the state of Virginia. Virginia Tech does, even though they're the stepchild. Like in Georgia, for example, Georgia Tech doesn't have any friends.
Correct.
It's whatever's best for Georgia.
Yeah.
After that, Georgia Tech's like, By the way, Georgia Tech right about now is screwed.
Yes.
They're broke, and they have no landing spot.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there going, well, damn it, man. We lost.
Maybe Georgia will take care of them.
It's not looking like it. Georgia never has.
Especially the end of their fight song is to hell with Georgia Tech. That's the end of the University of Georgia fight song and has been for 100 years. I don't think they're going to – that gives the sentiment that they would not care if Georgia Tech landed in the AAC.
Yeah, so now you have real teeth here with 8 teams. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than that. What's interesting is where are they going?
Yeah.
Now you get into the question marks about numbers. Does the SEC want to add 2 more teams or 4 more teams? Does the Big Ten want to add 2 more teams or 4 more teams? The networks have to pay the bill here. It's not like nobody's going to take less money to add more teams.
Right.
So, if you're making $70 million per squad and you want to add 2 more, well, those 2 are going to get paid. Nobody else is taking less money for them to join. So you can't just willy-nilly say, yeah, well, ESPN will pay or, Fox is going to pay. Maybe. I mean, for who? What are they paying for? So I think it's interesting. You begin to speculate, who do they want? And I would say that, because there's 8 teams there. They're not all going to the SEC or the Big Ten.
Right.
Somebody's got to go to the Big 12. And who do you think are the candidates? NC State, Virginia Tech, Louisville?
Those seem perfect. Good.
Perfectly
reasonable candidates for the Big 12.
Well, where does Miami go?
Yeah, I don't know. And I was wondering about that too when it comes to, so people are going to think, and I saw this on Twitter yesterday, that Virginia and North Carolina were who the SEC would want because it's 2 states they're not in, which is all right. That makes sense. Fair, whatever. They're not football programs. They never will be football programs. Maybe if you throw $100 million of SEC money, they would be.
They could be.
They would seem more of a natural fit for the Big Ten, quite
Perhaps,
honestly.
Perhaps. Yeah.
But what Florida State's leverage is, and has always been, is, yeah, maybe the SEC and Florida is trying to talk the SEC. You don't need Florida State. Look at us now. We run the world without Florida State. But as soon as Florida State starts flirting with the Big Ten and vice versa, then all of a sudden the Big Ten becomes a real player for they would be on even footing almost with the SEC if they brought in Florida State and Clemson.
They have a bigger national appeal, I can tell you that.
Absolutely. And to go along with maybe Oregon and Washington, all of a sudden the SEC is like, well, so they got Virginia. We got Virginia and North Carolina. They got Florida State and Clemson and maybe Miami. Well, that sucks.
And
that doesn't help us at all.
Well, and if they did that, they would have Los Angeles to Miami, to Seattle, to,
because the Big Ten isn't in Florida, and Florida's a huge, obviously a very populated state, and they would love to be in the state of Florida. Florida State is an enormous brand, one of the top 5 or 10 in the country. So it's the SEC might be like, it's fine, go until it looks like it might really happen. And I think most people watching this or listening to this, if they had their druthers, number one, everybody wants out of the ACC unless something drastically changes, and maybe this is all a ploy. Not to blow it up and start over and make it more equitable. If ESPN and the networks understand how unhappy these schools are and how unfair it is for the landscape of college football, maybe they do try to shift the finances a little bit. But why would they? They don't. They don't have to.
Yeah, I don't think fairness is.
Don't you think most people listening to this desperately want to be in the SEC?
Yeah,
if
I would
they
think the vast
choose.
majority. I've talked to a couple of people today
but
that said, they desperately want to be out of the ACC.
Correct.
Then they would like to land in the SEC.
It's just more fitting of the fan base, of the region, and everything else.
It makes sense.
But maybe the only way you get into the SEC is flirting with the Big Ten.
Oh,
because I think the Big Ten would be idiots not to be banging down Florida State's door. The Big Ten should be offering to pay whatever Florida State needs to be paid to get them into the Big Ten. Because imagine Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Clemson, Penn State, Oregon, Washington. That is on equal with Ole Miss, Florida, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma. Come on.
No, it's awesome. I listen, all you do know, there's a lot of speculation, and we can all say, well, look, there are rumors that the Big Ten is doing exactly what you're talking about. There's also rumors that the SEC has a quiet deal with FSU and Clemson, noting to them, hey, guys, we can't talk about this. I'm not getting sued.
Right.
I can't talk to you. It's like yesterday I used the analogy of the married man going through a divorce, wanting to go on a date and saying, listen, I really can't take you on a date until this is settled. That
hits a little too close.
Sorry, buddy.
Good grief. Golly.
So I'm just saying, there are situations where
I was pretty willy-nilly with it. I'm I'm not divorced yet, separated. Let's go. Let's go walk down the street.
Your ex is a nice lady who wasn't going to clamor for more.
Correct.
Based on your dating status. That's the problem. The SEC and the ACC, I don't think they're as close. I think there would be a problem there, especially because one of them is fixing to be dissolved.
Yeah.
And not matter. By the way, so you're at the ACC spring meetings and you're Jim Phillips. What's your job? Honestly, what is your job, Jim Phillips? What are you doing right now?
What could you possibly say to the Florida States and the Clemsons to get them on board? There is stuff you could say, but would it be real?
No.
Or it's just pie in the sky? We're working on some stuff because, look, man, again, it might look like Florida State is being petulant. This thing is ridiculous. And the landscape of college football and college athletics from when this grant of rights was signed till now has shifted in ways nobody could have ever foreseen. And even then, it was a dumb deal.
It was a dumb deal. But although at the time, a lot of people thought it was a
stabilizing force. But then who knew that the SEC and Big Ten would be making 2.5 to 3 times more money per year than you would? It is unsustainable to want Florida State to compete for national championships and be a top 10 program if they are making $60 million less than Purdue and Vanderbilt,
Rutgers,
and Ole Miss, and Rutgers, and Tennessee, and Georgia.
Right.
Like Georgia has some inherent advantages anyway. Now give them $65 million more than you every year. Not only are you going to struggle in football, you're going to struggle with, as we see in all these other sports that you care about.
Yeah, and slowly but surely that's going to happen.
Yes, it is happening.
It's happening already, and it's going to continue to happen. And then you'll lose your coaches.
Yeah.
And it's not going to take long for Lonnie Alameda to get an offer she can't refuse from an SEC school that has more money than
Don't put that out there. Just don't put that out there.
Common sense, man.
Don't put that out there.
It's
She loves Tallahassee. She ain't leaving.
Well, I love Tallahassee, and I'm leaving tomorrow if the money's right. So I'm just telling you, we all do. Everybody does.
I don't know.
You are too, buddy.
Man,
yeah,
come
you
on
are
now.
too.
I wouldn't
man.
leave this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We'd find a
we
way to
finally
do the
got
show.
rid of
I do
Ira.
the show from wherever.
We finally get Ira out of the equation, and now you're going to bounce too.
So I mean, it's interesting. I'm glad that this continues to be a talking point. It's not going away. I thought, it was interesting at the start of the week. The stories we had on warchant.com was that Michael Alford was going to continue to be, for lack of a better term, boisterous and outspoken about the frustrations FSU feels and their plight in this conference. And the finances being the crux of the argument, obviously.
So could Phillips then, sorry to interrupt you, but you asked what he could say.
What could he say?
I mean, there is the distribution.
It's not going to happen.
The
Those
revenue
other schools are going to
distribution.
say no.
I mean, then it becomes, okay, would you rather Florida State get more money than you, deservedly so, because of the eyeballs and the ratings? Or would you rather not there be an ACC?
Do you think
we've got to keep them happy? Well, I mean, that should be their goal. I know it's not, but Florida State makes the most money in this conference, and it is not close.
It is not close.
So it's crazy they get the same revenue that Virginia Tech and Duke and Wake
you can say that, and that's fine. I agree with you, but the rest of the league who's benefiting from that is not going to agree with you, and they're going to say, no, what are you going to do about it? We have the grant of rights. That's what their position has been. That's how we reached this place.
But then it becomes so and it probably is to the point where there's so much animosity and it's an antagonistic relationship that Florida State's, everybody knows their goal is to leave.
Yeah.
So whether you placate them now or not, what does that do for you in the long run? They're going to leave the first chance they get. So I get that side of it from the Wakes and the Dukes of the world. But at the same time, you also would like to have a conference for the next 10 years.
They're going to say, basically, why give them more money for them to then take that money and turn around and give it back to you so they can leave?
Yeah.
Because that's what Florida State's going to do. They're going to get more money if they can, and then they're going to say, what's the number?
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's your money back.
Yeah.
We're out. We want out of here. I mean, because long-term, the ACC is cooked. And I think that's the hard part. If you're Jim Phillips, what is your job description right now? Are you still scrambling to salvage this conference that you know is a dead man walking? Are you going to try to get as much money from the teams that want to leave as possible and spin it off into something else?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that would be. A basketball conference solely?
What if he could convince Notre Dame?
Well, if he could have, he would have already done it.
Well, absolutely.
And that was the promise when Jim Phillips was hired.
Yeah, well, and that would really help. And maybe this is all boiling over into trying to get Notre Dame to jump on ship.
And I think Notre Dame has already made their intentions known. They screwed you when you had them. You did this gentleman's deal with them for some reason during COVID. Oh, yeah, sure, come on over and play in the ACC. We understand you don't have any partners. Nobody wants to play you, and they're all just sticking in their own conference because of COVID. We'll let you in. Come join us with the understanding that when you decide to join a conference, it's going to be us and us only. What are we waiting on here?
Yeah.
It ain't ever happening.
Yeah.
They used you. Jim has not been able to make inroads with Notre Dame. I think he was hired solely to do that, to make the ACC relevant by bringing Notre Dame into the fold and his connections at Notre Dame. He never did it.
Yeah.
And then last year, he basically walked out there in the ACC kickoff and said, please stop doing what you're doing. It hurts us. Buddy, that ain't an answer.
Yeah.
The SEC and Sankey just put a gun to the back of the head of the Big 12 and pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
When they brought Texas and Oklahoma in. They assassinated the conference. It's done. They're not going to have mercy on you because you ask them, hey, it's for the good of college football. You've been saying that for a long time.
Nobody cares.
Does the SEC care about the good of college football? No, they care about the SEC. And the Big Ten, who was allegedly aligned with you in something called the Alliance, turned around a month after the alliance was forged and brought in USC and UCLA and nuked the Pac-12. There is no loyalty here. So
I keep forgetting USC's in the Big Ten too.
Yes, they are.
I mean, that's
again,
the Big Ten. If they want to, the Big Ten's won one national championship in 26 years.
Ohio State has
in
won 14, a couple, right?
Yeah, and then two. So two. Ohio State's won two. Michigan hasn't won one since 97. Penn State since 94. Imagine bringing in Florida State and Clemson have all won combined to win 5
in the last 10 years
in that span. Well, 5 in the last 24 years.
Yeah.
Imagine bringing that kind of cachet into that. The Big Ten would need the Big Ten would want, I think, Florida State and Clemson and need Florida State and Clemson more than the SEC. The SEC would take Florida State and Clemson to keep them away from the Big Ten.
I wonder if the Big Ten would probably be Miami's best answer.
Yeah.
I think they're hoping the Big Ten comes calling. It's a really good academic school.
Yeah.
They don't win much of anything anymore, but at least you'd have a footprint in Miami.
They haven't won anything.
Oh, good God. You got to dust off the VCR, buddy.
Yeah. I don't have one of those anymore.
Yeah.
Do you?
Oh, they've never won. I do.
Oh, you have a VCR.
It's got dust all over it, and it sits in the back bedroom, and it's never been used since I've been married to my wife. It's
nice.
just sat there.
You should show your kids how it works one day. What
Guys,
you had
watch
to do.
this thing. Watch this. Yeah. I have an old commercial for the Jeff Cameron show that we shot at the moon. Me at a urinal next to another guy having a conversation about sports. That's the commercial. It's an awesome commercial. It's hilarious. The guy turns to me while I'm peeing and says, "Hey, I know you." And it's just a funny little commercial that we shot 20 some odd years ago. It's on VCR tape. Did
you have hair?
I had a lot of hair. I had a ton of hair. Man. I was the hairiest guy you've ever seen. It was incredible.
Those were the days.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
This is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians, combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
At Pinch A Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Hey folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at macandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Ira's at the meetings in Amelia Island over there by Jacksonville Beach, so not here with us today. It's Corey and I, and we are continuing the discussion that was sparked again yesterday, and it really led the national conversation around college football as it would.
How about the nation actually talking about the ACC meetings
awesome.
For once? That doesn't happen a lot.
Well,
you're welcome.
They're like, what is this thing that's going on in Amelia Island? What are we talking about again?
Upset? What?
Brandon donated to the program, and we appreciate that, Brendan. Doffing of the cap. Did I miss the part of the show?
I think it's Brandon.
I said Brandon, didn't I?
Oh, I thought you said Brendan. Sorry.
No, Brandon. Did I miss the part of the show where these Magnificent Seven revealed their leverage because that grant of right looks ironclad? It's funny. We've certainly had this discussion ongoing for a very, very long time about just how ironclad is the grant of rights, and I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah.
You know, Peter Collins at that Board of Trustees meeting, along with Michael Alford, had an ongoing conversation on video for the world to see and seemed to suggest, quote, we have a handle on the grant of rights. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Does that mean we have an avenue by which we are going to sue and try to break it? We think there's an out. We're going to present our case. I don't know. What is it? What is this? We have a handle on it, other than to look at it and go, damn, this is problematic.
And it's hard to make this comparison because they're completely different. It's not apples to apples or even apples to another fruit. But you know, when a player gets frustrated with whatever team he's on, he might have a contract for 4 years with that team. It becomes very obvious he's unhappy and he's going to get traded, whether they're going to restructure his contract, but he's going to either sit out or he's going to get traded. That happens all the time where you would think, man, this guy doesn't have any leverage. He signed a contract. And then yet it always works out for the player, whether it's Anthony Davis, Chris Paul, whoever, they end up going where they want to go.
They withhold their services.
They threaten to. Now, I can't imagine Florida State can threaten to say, well, we're not going to play LSU. Yeah. Throw Wake Forest on LSU at LSU in Orlando. We're sitting out the year. Like, that's not going to happen.
No.
But usually when there's this much animosity and vitriol and obvious consternation about a contract, it does end up taking care of itself somewhere along the line, whether you have to pay him a huge amount of money to get out of here, whatever it is. Again, like I said, it's not a great comparison because it's players' contracts as opposed to a grant of rights. But it's clear Florida, it seems like this is almost untenable at this point now because this is going on again. And they've got 7 other teams. And I think the thinking is if you get 8 or 9 or 10 other teams,
you just dissolve the conference.
You dissolve the conference.
Yeah.
That's the leverage. Is there's no ACC to have a grant of rights if all these teams decide they want to leave and blow up that contract.
Yeah, according to the wording, it does appear anyhow for those that have looked at that basically, yes, if you have 8 teams, you can basically dissolve the conference. If they're all in agreement and they have landing spots, you can just dissolve the conference and you're out from under the grant of rights. I know it's a little bit more complicated than that, but that is the gist of what they've been trying to do. And that was allegedly Florida State's modus operandi all along, was to get other teams on board with this, to say it's not just us guys. I mean, we're the loudest voice in the room because we're the most adversely affected. But, you know, Clemson's with us. And then yesterday you found out 5 other teams, and now today another was with you. So now you got 8. At this point, you would think that's enough to come to the table and start having a conversation about what do we got to do. Hey, Jim, we got 8 teams. Tomorrow it'll be 10.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to keep fighting this fight.
But clearly you can't expect all these schools to just go merrily along for the next 13 years as they get lapped and lapped and lapped again. And now look, out of those schools, Florida State and Clemson are the only ones that really care about football. I guess you could throw Miami in there, but look at their crowds. Florida State and Clemson are the only ones that really care about football. And you can't expect them to just idly. I know they signed a contract, but things have changed, and they're going to get lapped to the point of not being competitive. nationally. And why would the ACC want that? Why would ESPN want that?
Correct.
They don't.
Yeah.
The more competitive, they want to make this, I think, when it's all said and done, when the dust is settled, this will be NFL light. There'll be 35 to 40 teams. It might be 2 major conferences.
They have 48. Yeah.
But you're playing, it's the NFL where there's parity. That everybody, theoretically has a chance to win, but they're all in the same playing field. It's ridiculous right now that Florida State is going to play LSU, probably as a favorite. They're both ranked very high. LSU has an operating budget just from TV money of $70 million, and Florida State has half that. And that's going to keep doubling.
Oh, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And when they re-up their deals, it gets even more.
But you want them to be equal. You want to sell these matchups. It's like, well, that's like having the Seahawks play the Guardians of the XFL or something. It will get to that point in a decade if this doesn't stop.
So something to note here. I see a lot of folks in the chat, and I'll just address some of these things. Gone are the days where it matters that Florida doesn't want Florida State in the conference, or that, other state schools are saying no to others that are in their state to come into the SEC. The SEC scrapped that when they brought Texas in after already having brought Texas A&M in.
Right.
And they went against their own tenets at that point. I don't think it really is pertinent anymore. It's not a thing they're worried about addressing. Now, again, the SEC could say we already have a team in Florida.
But Florida's one vote.
Yeah,
they're not running the conference.
No, they're not
one
running the
vote.
conference, right. And also, it used to be a wink, wink, nod, nod understanding. All of us will do this, right? South Carolina would not vote for Clemson to come in. Florida would not vote for Florida State to come in. And A&M certainly didn't want Texas to come in. I mean, you can obviously argue that Texas makes A&M irrelevant. I mean, that Texas is the name. It's not A&M. And then in terms of how competitive we would be, I see this brought up a lot. Well, remember this, folks. Florida State, who's been bad at football over the last 4 years, beat LSU last year, who won the West and played for the SEC title.
Yeah.
Don't think for a second. And by the way, LSU, who beats Texas A&M and beat Alabama. Okay, that same LSU team, right?
Well, they lost A&M.
Well, they lost.
That was Jimbo's big win.
Is that? What did he have? 4 last year?
He had, I think that was 5. That was a big one
for A&M last year. So the point would be, yes, Florida State competes with all those teams. Does your road to winning national championships get that much more difficult? Well, hell yes, that's always been a given. If you've joined a more powerful conference, it's tougher to win it. But it's that way for everybody, and at least you're on equal footing because the money's the same.
Yeah.
This way, your path to a national championship might be easier coming out of the ACC, but your ability to compete year in and year out moving forward is diminished every year that you're not making the same amount of money, and they won't be able to much longer. This is something where you've got lightning in a bottle right now. It's a good thing that things turned around for Florida State when they did. I think right now Florida State's in a position to be courted by the Big Ten and the SEC, partly because they put their best foot forward again finally.
And you reminded people, I did that story whenever that was, December or January, about the YouTube numbers.
Yeah.
And how Florida State dwarfs everybody in the ACC, including Clemson, when it comes to YouTube views. And YouTube isn't a thing that you roll your eyes about.
Not anymore.
Look at, I mean, they're going to be a streaming. They're going to be
the
NFL games are going to be on
games
YouTube.
Be on there, yes.
Streaming networks matter. The internet matters. So you got to remind people, when we're good, look at this. And I just think in the SEC, number one, the playoff is expanding. So
it doesn't matter. You can have 3 losses.
You can have 3 losses. If you're in the SEC and you go 9-3, you are probably going to be at least in the conversation. And the reason I bring that up is because last year, remember, whenever it was like early November, even though LSU had 2 losses, the mouth breathers in the SEC are like, well, they should be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They should be. Well, it's like, all right, well, they have basically the same record as Florida State, and nobody's saying that about Florida State, and Florida State beat them. So you get to the SEC, you automatically get a bump up. Losses don't matter nearly as much in the SEC. If you're in the ACC and you lose, if Florida State loses to LSU, I've said this before, their chances of getting the playoff shrink dramatically.
Yeah,
if they beat LSU and lose to Clemson, they can still beat Clemson again in the championship game. But they've got that win over LSU that's a bigger feather in the cap because of the perception of the SEC.
Well, and also it's got to be. I mean, if we're going to continue to expand, now you think about this.
I like that we're already talking about Florida State and the SEC. We're going to be in the West or the East? Probably the East.
Well, they're going to redo the conference.
Yeah, it probably won't have divisions.
So I actually talked to somebody about this, and they told me
it'll be Spurrier, Bear Bryant. divisions? Who's in the Spurrier?
They told me basically, can you envision a conference that, or division of the conference that features Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, LSU, and Auburn?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I like that division.
Just think about, like, again, I know there are some people that would prefer the Big Ten, and I think we all agree that that's probably how this ends up whenever it ends up. It's either the SEC or the Big Ten. But, man, I don't know that, like, Purdue fans are coming to Doak. I don't know that Northwestern fans, and I'm using bad examples because they're the worst teams.
You don't think Indiana's traveling?
But even Indiana or Illinois or people, I think every SEC school except for Vanderbilt is coming to Doak, and they're going to sell out their allotment.
So you're talking about the next 10 years of the new car smell, that these places are all sold out.
They just
It's
travel.
amazing.
These fan bases travel, and how cool would it be to go to Tennessee or to go to Oxford or go? I mean, Nashville's a cool town. I guess the stadium's terrible and the program is terrible, but I just think it fits more in line with what Florida, and it would remind, like, again, it has been so long since a conference team's opponents. It's Clemson. Every 2 years, Clemson will roll into town.
Yeah.
No other team in the conference is ever here. Miami, but I mean,
it's the one game they go to.
Yeah, they crawl out from the gutters
sewers?
and the sewers.
Yeah.
Find their chains and come to Tallahassee. But
it's prison release for the weekend.
Right, that's right.
Get your
and then get right back.
Yeah.
But so that would be really cool to have those kind of atmospheres again. That's what's missing in this. Well, other than the money and
the money is a big one.
The prestige is a real feel of a college football game on a Saturday.
I do think, and I hear people say often, like, well, golly, guys, I mean, I'd like to go 11-1 or 12-0 again at some point, and that'll never happen if we join the SEC. I don't care.
You already did it. You already lived that life, didn't you?
We've done it numerous times.
Yeah.
I mean, we went wire to wire. Listen, here's what I do know. That with an expanded playoff and a strength of competition being through the roof, you're getting every benefit of the doubt. You're right. Those losses aren't as significant in the SEC. They're not held against them.
Right.
But I also would argue, rightfully so. If I've got to play, if I got to play LSU, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee in a given year, I may lose a couple games, guys.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And if you play well in those games and you're not getting the tar beat out of you and the final score is 35-32, look, you're probably still one of the best teams in the country. You just happen to lose one of these road games in front of 100,000 people at night. It happens. It's, and that conference would only get stronger, obviously. And
I think the same would probably be to the Big Ten, maybe to a lesser extent. But if Florida State and Clemson were in the Big Ten and you've got to play USC, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, UCLA, Wisconsin, something like that, like, you're going to have a couple losses. But it all seems to be coalescing with the expansion of the playoffs, that it just makes perfect sense to have two huge conferences with all the good teams in it, and they're battling for the playoff.
Yeah, the ones who've opted in.
Yes,
the ones who've opted in. I mean, I get it. If you want to opt out. It's fine. It's not for everybody. I mean, if you got a track around your football field, I don't know that you've opted in.
You have not opted in.
I don't think you have.
Yes.
You've made your intentions known.
Yeah.
We don't like it.
Yeah.
That's fine. You go play
fair.
over there. The NCAA would finally have something to do. They could actually regulate the teams and look at the teams that they're supposed to be looking at and kind of preside over the proceedings there, because that's not big-time college football.
Right.
They're good at that. They're good at that. But this is big boy stuff now. We've moved to professional football. Players are being paid.
Yeah.
It's all changed. You can argue, and we certainly would, I think, that we hate what's happened to college football. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I hate what's happened.
But
I'm not.
It's here.
It's here.
Yeah.
You can't be in denial. You've got to move forward with this. This is the new reality. And the new reality is Florida State is staring a real financial crisis in the face. Every day they're still in this godforsaken conference. So, again, I ask the question as we go to break, what is Jim Phillips doing today? What does Jim Phillips' job title tell him to do today? What is he doing? Is he about to resign? Are you going to hear the meeting is over, it's concluded, and Jim Phillips has said, this is it. What am I doing, guys?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Go ahead. It's all.
Do
I'm going to rip it up.
I'm tired of it all.
Life's too short.
Ridiculous.
Life's too short. I've made enough money.
I'm going to go praise Notre Dame some more for no reason. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Tallahassee Police Department is investigating two shooting incidents that occurred on Sunday. One of the shooting incidents left one teen male with a gunshot wound. Officers responded to HCA Florida Southwood Emergency Room around 7:07 p.m. on Sunday due to a juvenile and teenage male arriving with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound to his hip. The juvenile said the shooting took place in the 3100 block of Dunkfeld Court earlier that day. Once officers responded to that location, no evidence was found to confirm the shooting occurred in the area. TPD says it is unclear where the shooting took place. A second shooting incident took place in a neighborhood near Capitol Circle Northeast and Miccosukee Road around 8:55 p.m. that same day. An adult male and an adult female were traveling in their car in the area when someone shot at them. The adult male and adult female then drove themselves to a local hospital due to suffering from non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. TBD says at this time it is unclear what circumstances led up to both shooting incidents, and both are ongoing investigations. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. Highs around 86, southwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight, lows level off around 70, partly cloudy skies. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Highs level off around 87, cloudy. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 87.
You worked hard all day and are settled in for a little downtime by relaxing in your hammock located in a nice shady spot in your beautiful North Florida backyard. Then one gets you, then another, and another, and another. Mosquitoes have you sprinting to the back door, and you just pray none get inside as you open it. That's pretty much the story here this time of year. Mosquitoes are ruining our time in our yards. They're pretty much taking over when the sun starts going down. Paul's Termite and Pest Control has an inexpensive solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which treats the grounds, flower beds, shrubs, and standing water. Paul's program controls mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose potential health risk to people and pets. Enjoy your yard again, mosquito-free. Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control today for your free consultation.
For the elimination of any pest, call Paul. We'll get them all.
Visit Paul's online at callpauls.com. Callpauls.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
By the way, Sean, I just was checking the questions for next hour, Corey, and Sean wanted you to know that the 20-win baseball streak is still alive.
Yeah, they did it.
And
they
all your joking got him thinking, when was the last time Florida State didn't win 20 games? 1960, they went 13-9.
That's tough when you only have a 22-game schedule.
The robust 22-game schedule did not allow for them to win 20.
So that was 1960?
It was 1960. They went 13-9.
So, guys, Florida State's on a 63-year streak of winning at least 20 games. Is that going to be the next sign up in Hauser?
Yeah, let's put that one up
the
there.
big 6-3?
Yeah. The last time that Florida State failed to win 30 games, 1964.
Okay. I don't think they're getting there. Well, they can't get there.
We went 23-13 that year. So there you go. I was not alive.
Back
Neither
in the
were
day,
you.
they're only playing 25 and 35 games. And in the 80s, they were playing 100.
So, by the way, since the last time you and I talked, not only did the baseball team get its 20th win, and the softball team just keeps winning.
Yeah.
But also Destin Hill.
Destin Hill is here.
It's
here,
crazy. But it's a real person.
How cool. And I wrote a column about it that day because, part of me, not a huge part of me, but part of me felt bad because we had a lot of jokes at his expense, and not really his expense because we didn't know his situation. It was the situation, and that he became like a chupacabra or a Bigfoot or a Loch Ness monster. Like, does he really exist? Have you seen grainy footage of him anywhere? And so I thought it was cool that he gets to have the last laugh. This never happens. Kids that are away from college football for 2 years,
yeah, they don't,
in between high school and college, don't show up and play.
I don't know if I would have had the discipline to stay with it for 2 years when I was 18, 19 years old.
And how many guys have we seen come through just college football in general, be these 4-star kids or these really highly sought-after kids that don't get into school right away and just disappear into the ether?
Oh, sure.
You never hear from them again.
Yeah.
And
whatever happened to Callahan Bright
or Deshaun Platt?
Do you know?
And, I do not know. So then this happens, and you're like, man, good for Destin Hill. I hope he has a great career, but him just being here after 2 years of whatever it was, that's a feel-good story, man, that he made it because they just when you follow college athletics as closely as most of us do, it's so rare even to be gone for 1 year and come back. 2 years, that just does not happen.
No, and I will say this. He is an intriguing prospect.
Absolutely.
Because
he can fly.
he can fly.
Yeah.
And Florida State's receiving core does not have a guy that can fly.
Right.
They don't have a guy that makes you miss and is going 90 to the house.
Yeah.
And so he would be that. Now, I don't know how quickly he turns to form. We don't know that. I don't know what he looks like he's in shape. I mean, we haven't seen him play football.
He has not played football since 2021.
Yeah.
By the time LSU rolls around, he'll have been almost 3 full years without playing a college football game of any sort.
Where I hope he can help Florida State in year one is on special teams.
Yeah.
Can you return punts? Can you return kicks?
I mean, you got to have somebody back there you trust to catch.
But I'm
punt.
saying,
kicks, sure.
Yeah, but let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, is he that kind of guy? You remember how fun it was watching a dynamic punt returner back in the day, like a Willie Reed, obviously, or a Greg Reed, like guys like that, where you're like, oh man, this could be it. This could be a moment. Florida State hasn't had that guy in a long time.
Yeah.
A guy that you're like, this could go to the house. I mean, remember, we used to routinely look for guys like that.
Micah wasn't that guy.
No, he'd catch it. Yeah, and he'd give you 8 yards. He'd give you 8 to 9.
Yeah, but you got to imagine that he must have some special something in him.
They stuck with him.
For them to stick with him for 2 years,
too, yeah.
especially because it made sense in 2021 you'd stick with him. He was the highest recruit you had, but now 2 years later, the whole program has shifted, and they still had a spot for this kid after 2 years of when he hasn't been around. So you got to imagine they really think he can play.
To bring up recruits and recruiting and the team itself, as opposed to where Florida State's going to be playing in its foreseeable future. But we know they're playing this year, and we know they need some safety help, and they got it in the form of junior college defensive back Ashton Barker. He is
he committed like an hour ago, I guess.
I think right before we came on the air. By the way, he's from Council Bluffs, Iowa. Well, the 2022 national champion is that Reavers? Yeah, Reavers. Spring practice. He went there, talked to him, and he got to come in. Matt Britton, my dear friend, is from Council Bluffs, Iowa.
I think he went to JUCO in Council Bluffs.
I'm sure he's not from Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Iowa.
There's 7 people from Council Bluffs, Iowa. By the way, one of them is Randy Spetman. So
there you go.
Yeah, I'll pull out Council Bluffs on you. I got some Council Bluff trivia. Let's go.
He went to Iowa Western, which is also where Derwin Kitchen went for a short time during his basketball journey.
Kitchen, who went to 6 different schools before arriving at Florida State.
St. John's, Iowa Western.
He was in St. Petersburg for a while.
But he made it to Florida State and finally played. So with this kid,
I don't know what he is, man. He was a junior college.
He redshirted last year, his only year at JUCO, and I don't think he played even a ton in high school. There was some COVID. One of those years was COVID.
Right.
He doesn't have a ton of playing experience. I would
caution against having high
I would phrase this as throwing another body at it. You know what I mean? And he's got 4 years to play, so that's good. He might end up being great. I'm not dismissing that at all. But you went from maybe getting the kid from UAB who's played a ton of football, and you had and was going to play for you probably a lot, to this is just another wild card, much in the same. It's not much different than KJ Kirkland. I would say KJ Kirkland probably has a better
further
chance
along,
because he was here in the spring.
And he's also good.
Yeah, well, he is good.
He's good.
But
KJ Kirkland's going to be a player.
You do have another safety now. So you've got.
I can't say I know anything about this kid. So this is an uneducated opinion, but it's an opinion that I'm not afraid to give, regardless of how uneducated it is.
It's fine, man. That's what you do for a living.
I don't like this.
Oh.
I don't think they should have done it.
Okay.
The hell? It sounds like we just grabbed a guy.
Okay, but
because we grabbed a guy because we need a guy?
They might believe in him. They might believe in him.
You don't believe in him. You just said they're throwing a body at the problem.
Well,
you don't believe in him. You don't even think he's a guy.
I don't believe in him to be a huge help in 2023, which is all I was concerned about, because this is when you're trying to do some stuff.
Yeah.
And you needed some safety help, some experienced safety help, in my opinion. And this isn't that. This is basically like going and getting another true freshman. He's a little bit older, but he's another true freshman that has not played a ton of football.
P. Simpson, I'm with you, baby. That's the first thing I thought about. That Cushney kid that we brought in at defensive end. Sorry ass.
That guy at least played a bunch of football.
He was a bunch of football against 160-pound dudes.
But he was like a one-year rental that you thought Mike could help.
No, I don't know how.
You needed
that
this
is the
kid.
Most asinine. Well, that was crazy.
I mean, bodies. The
day we walked out there to practice, Tom was funny. He looked at me because he could see the disgust on my face. I'm glad Cushney couldn't. I judged him. It was awful. We walked out there. I went, what is this? This is your defensive end you're bringing in here?
Well,
That
the
dude
same
was
year they had
5'9", 180.
they had
What are we
Jermaine
doing?
Johnson. They
Short
both
arm.
ends of the spectrum.
It was awful. I was like, why would you do that?
I would say the difference here is this kid, that guy was proven what he was. So that was a miss, but they just needed some depth. This kid coming in is not proven. He is a wild card that has played very little football. He might end up being awesome. I don't know what they project him to be. My concern with it was I thought they would go get a safety that could help this year. I don't know that he's that guy. And that's what they needed. That's why Jalen Key would have been perfect. He had 1 year, a lot of experience, but he wanted to go play. Oh, I got to go play at Alabama.
Yeah.
Got to go play for Nick Saban because they put people in the league.
By choosing Alabama, he somehow switched to having a feminine voice. It's just like, imagine that.
Look at that.
Playing at Alabama is commiserate with being
I guess
soft
Alabama
or
one.
feminine.
It is,
huh?
man. Try a different road. Try a harder road, Jalen. Anybody can go to Alabama and get to the
anybody.
NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, good grief. Like, flip the script one time and say no to Saban and yes to Adam Fuller.
They've already convinced the kid to say yes to say yes to Mike Norvell in Florida State over Georgia. Which is great. And they're going for another one. They're trying to grab that linebacker.
So, and they're
telling old Bainbridge Kirby to suck it.
That would have been really cool too to have to go beat Alabama for a recruit. But it's Alabama. We get it. And nobody's begrudging Jalen Key of going and starting in the SEC at Alabama, and they always put guys in the NFL. But that's why this is not his replacement. Jalen Key was going to be a player that played a lot. I don't know if he was going to start, but he probably would have.
Yeah,
I don't think this kid has any chance to start. He is a depth piece for 2023.
But as Briley points out, they were going to take him either way. This is not to replace Key. They were looking to bring in two. This kid, they were bringing
he's
in.
Got 4 years to play, so he's more of a developmental project.
Yeah, they can develop him, right?
But that doesn't help you necessarily with the issue you had going into 2023 is you have no experience after your two.
They've got an opportunity. I still think we're going to be looking at a grad transfer situation here. They're going to get somebody else. They can't. I don't think they'll go into the season as important as this season is in the current situation that they're in at safety. Now, maybe they don't have choice.
They might switch positions with someone. Somebody might be moved.
Well, that's
safety.
one option. I don't love that option either. Remember, you play LSU to start the year.
Yep.
I mean, if you're talking about a kid getting used to a new position, you don't indoctrinate him by playing him against LSU.
But if it's somebody like Jarian Jones, is your defense better with Jarian Jones at safety or KJ Kirkland? In that first game and against LSU first month.
It's weird because I don't know if he would do it, but you could take a corner that you have starting for you and move him to safety. You're right. Yeah.
Or as REA or somebody like that. Would you be better with them at safety or a true freshman that's played no football if Akeem Dent sprains his ankle in the first quarter? That's the issue with not getting Key is that you are razor thin with experience depth. You have no experience, literally none, other than those two safeties.
We got asked a question about whether or not they're still going to play the Georgia Tech game in Ireland if this thing goes haywire in Florida State.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a good question.
It is a good question, and I have thought about it because I thought about it yesterday, actually.
Kind of chilled you, give you a little chills, didn't it?
Yeah, it caused me to go, damn it, not again.
Yeah.
Because you remember how much I wanted to go to Boise, Ireland.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Very similar situation.
Well,
Ireland, Boise.
Boise's the Ireland of
of the States. Yeah, without question. So I got jobbed on that. We ended up having them come here, beat our ass. Wasn't it? Yeah. And
they're supposed to even be in Jacksonville, and they came here and did
skating
it for you.
heat.
Well, the hydration issues.
Hydration issues. Yeah. Head coach is rolling the trainer over who's been here forever. But so there was all of that. And then, now this. I would guess, just a guess here, given the magnitude of this game and the monies involved for all parties, there's a clause in the contract that is pretty much saying you're playing this game.
It could be non-conference if nothing else.
I mean, you are playing this game.
Also,
it's going to happen.
If this thing even blows up, we don't think Florida State would be in a new conference next year.
No, probably the year after.
Yeah, so I feel like
I would like them to be in a new conference after this next year.
I'd like after this sentence.
Yeah.
I'd like them to be in a new conference.
Yeah, let's go to commercial break and find out what conference we're in. That'd be awesome. No, but I do think there would be something, and we can probably find this out real soon. In fact, when Michael Alford gets back, I'll ask him. But or we could have Ira ask him, whatever. But I would think that this is an ironclad deal. Like you're like playing this game. Yeah, ironclad. There ain't no getting out of this Ireland game. You're playing in Ireland.
Sorry, Georgia Tech. Sorry, I mean, you might be mad because Florida State's leaving the conference. You still got to get your butts over to Dublin
and take this ass kicking.
Well, let's hope.
there's no hoping. Georgia Tech is not beating Florida State.
Not with Rodemaker, not with Hot Rod.
This is an ass beating waiting to happen here, just in the great distance. And at least you have beautiful scenery while you take your ass kicked.
Yeah.
You'll
That's
be over
all
there
they
in
care
Ireland,
about.
get your ass kicked, come on back home. At least you could tell everybody at the end of your 2-10 season, we went to Ireland this year. It was a good time.
Another continent.
Lost by 38, but it was fun. It was a fun game. It is bizarre. 1990 was a long time ago, my friend. But Georgia Tech not only doesn't matter anymore to the point where they're never mentioned. Like they don't have a landing spot. They're just sitting over there going, please God help us. But there was a day at least when Bobby Crimmins and the Georgia Tech basketball team were landing the #1 guards in the country. They were out here competing with Dennis Scott firing threes.
Yep. Baseball team was
like
in the early 90s. They had
Veritek behind the plate. They were doing some things. They're irrelevant
in everything.
Everything.
They're okay in baseball, and they've been okay for 2 decades.
Yeah.
Basketball, they've been trashed essentially for 2 decades.
Man.
They had one run to the tournament in like 2004 to the championship
Think about
game.
that. Like Kenny Anderson,
Man,
Mark
that was the
Price.
same year. They won the national championship in football in 1990. And that was the same year. That was 6 months after they had gone to the Final Four in basketball.
Yeah, they split
with that really fun team.
They split it in 90 with Colorado.
Well, right, but they should have won it.
How about
outright.
that?
Yeah.
The two programs have gone in very similar directions.
They have.
They've become worthless.
Yeah. Well, one got Dion. They're like the other
Still
one.
worthless.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right now they are.
It's just crazy.
Travis J. Congrats to Travis J. for finding a landing spot.
By the way,
Colorado.
that is by far and away the best player Colorado's got on the roster. I mean, in talent-wise.
Travis J.
Oh,
well, they got the other
good
Travis,
question.
the other kid that was committed to Florida State for a
He
while.
hadn't really done anything. We'll see. We see highlight reels against him roasting fat white kids out there on the perimeter. I don't see. I ain't done anything in a game yet that matters.
Well, you're right. He's got a chance this year, though. We'll see how he does.
I don't know. We will. But it's crazy to think some of these other teams. I'm not feeling sorry, mind you. And this is the ultimate, I wish Swafford was still here so we could double middle finger him on our way out the door.
Yeah.
That guy cares so much about basketball in the damn triangle, and now he's going to watch his beloved conference burn to the ground.
Yeah. You mean here as in like on Earth? Did he pass away?
Is he dead?
I
don't think he's dead, is he?
I don't know. I'll look that up.
I hope he's here to see it. Well, I don't want him to pass before this thing dissolves.
I think he might have passed.
Feel that pain as you're fading, as the darkness creeps upon you. Think about your beloved ACC getting torched. Is he dead?
I did.
Come on, man! I got 10 seconds before break.
Sorry. We'll update people in the next hour.
Headliner questions forthcoming. Stay with.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Services to call away. 222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Conferences to call away. Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Florida State baseball today, $1.75 home favorite against the Owls of Kennesaw State, plus 140. Atlanta Braves 16-6 on the road this year after clubbing the Texas Rangers 12-0 yesterday as a $1.70 road favorite. The Braves $1.12 favorite at Texas, plus 102 today. 10 over the total at Globe Life Field. Rookie Jared Schuster for the Braves. Dane Dunning for the Rangers. The Tampa Bay Rays on the road to the New York Mets today. The Rays $1.45 underdog. Justin Verlander for the Mets minus 155. 8 over the total at Citi Field in New York. Start betting smarter with the betting intelligence app, Juice Reel. Download the free app today, Juice, REEL. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Two guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same two guys drove home. One guy wore a seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Smooth skin begins with hydrating ingredients. Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion nourishes your skin with all-day hydration for deeply moisturized results that give you confidence like buttery soft shoulders like and visibly smooth skin like. Quench your skin with nourishing moisture from Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion. Try Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash too and get skin your face will envy.
A cup of Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roastmaster himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, headliner questions on your way in just a moment. First, we laud the great work done by Dr. Birch and her associates at Birch Orthodontics. Always appreciate them helping us out and all the things that we do. If you guys have maybe kids that have orthodontic needs, make sure you go see Dr. Birch and her staff. They're the best in the business, and they have been for a long time. They're also very charitable in the process of helping local charities right now. You can go to Birch Orthodontics. Just type in Birch Orthodontics and find the website, like Corey said last hour.
Google it.
Yeah, Google it.
What do you need?
Yeah.
www.// Come on, guys.
There
You
you
know how to
go.
do it on the internet.
Go figure it out.
But it's Birch with a U, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Birch with a
Yeah.
U. Don't try that BIRCH.
No, don't do that. Dr. Birch.
Yep.
There you go. Birch Orthodontics. All right. So Corey was alert and ready to roll at 2:00 in the morning last night, and he posted, "Hey,
Yeah.
we need some questions out here, kids," because we knew Ira wasn't going to be here. We do this anyhow. We're going to have the questions either way. But I should alert you to the fact, I just found this out. Our cohort and dear friend Tom Lang let us know that they're running a poll in the headlines chat.
Okay.
Where would you rather?
On warchant.com.
That's correct. Where would you rather FSU land?
Okay.
Right now, the votes have gone this way. SEC, got a guess?
61%.
Very good, Corey. 63%.
Okay. I don't believe that number.
The Big Ten is at 37%.
Again, I
You
think
can figure that out once we knew the 63% there.
No Big 12?
It's
Or
not in there.
AAC? Is AAC an option?
Not in there. Not in there.
Ivy?
No.
So the thing with that, though, is I think so many of us, and me included, I have ripped on the SEC forever. We have so much animosity towards that conference before what it has done to this sport
Mhm.
that I get wanting to not jump into that conference, like having real ill will.
It's kind of a class that can't beat them, join them.
Towards that conference. But guys, I mean, I'm not just talking about my life. All of
You
your
don't wanna
lives
travel
to going to these games would be so much easier if you're driving to Knoxville or Oxford or Starkville or Athens and not West Lafayette or East Lafayette or Evanston or LA or all these other faraway places. You know, Rutgers, you don't want to go to New Jersey. You want to keep it in the South. Even Vanderbilt.
Oh, man, that's
is
an
a
awesome
cool
place.
city.
Oh, it's a great city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
I
Zach,
think that's an emotional answer. Those are emotional answers because we're all so frustrated and fed up with the SEC.
well, I know this. The bottom line is whether it's the SEC or the Big Ten, we'll just be elated to get out of this damn conference.
Yes.
And it gives us a fighting chance to be an elite football school.
And be showered
year
with
in
money.
and year out. Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
Take baths with money.
I think Zach probably in the chat here represents a lot of what you're describing, which is hard pass on traveling to Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Maryland. You get the point every other season. SEC on CBS at Doak sounds better to me.
Amen, Zach.
Yeah, listen.
And I say that as somebody that doesn't like to fly. I know it'd be cool to go to LA and Seattle
be awesome.
and places like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know,
Uh,
you got vacation time.
taking
Do it on your own time.
Taking on Southern Cal out there in LA wouldn't suck. Taking on, or if they were able to grab Oregon and Washington, playing those teams would not suck.
Yeah.
I'd enjoy it. It is a long haul though. You can't just willy-nilly be jumping on a plane to LA.
And is the softball team going to play
That's-
Oregon?
That is the other problem. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I still think at the end of the day, you're going to the
saying
SEC.
Oregon is as if they're in it yet, but
We
we
feel
all
like they
assume
should
they
be,
will
right?
be in it. Yeah.
I would also say this, that when we join the SEC and dominate that conference the way that we will, let them know that there's a new sheriff in town.
Right.
All right. Well, here's the thing. We're also going to be able to influence them. We'll be in their sphere of influence finally, and we can say to them, this mouth breathing nonsense y'all do with this SEC chant all the time. It's
It happened.
The buck stops here.
Yeah.
It ain't ever happening.
Nope.
We're not chanting SEC
And
ever
if we
under
do
any
it,
circumstance.
it's 100% ironical.
Yeah, we're being
being
mocking,
ironic and we're making
mocking
fun
you.
of you.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when you come to Doak and take that ass kicking, we might chant SEC.
Yeah.
Ironically, right.
Right.
We might have some fun at your expense, but we're not chanting it as if we belong to a club.
Yeah, exactly.
We all know that club. SEC. Polk County Noel says, love the show. Love everything you guys do. We should stop there.
There's
This is
nothing
a
else he needs to-
wonderful.
that's the most important thing
just
he said.
positing that Polk County Noel is a wonderful way to ingratiate yourself. Longtime listener, post rarely. I'm part of the $1 club. So you
Okay.
got in for the dollar.
Yeah.
But would you rather go and get $75 million of SEC money, or restructure the Big 12 deal and get, say, $68 million and bring in Oregon, other top Pac-10 schools, Pac-12 schools looking for homes? You would have maybe FSU, Clemson, Miami, get rid of some of the weaker teams, supplant them with a Washington and an Oregon, make a run out of Power 3, give ESPN 2 power conferences. They'd tear up the ACC and Pac-12 for eyeballs.
Yeah, no, again, but mostly for the reasons we were just talking about. The travel, you're going across the country, back and forth across the country. I know for most people it doesn't matter, but some of you would really like to go to games, and it's hard to get to Pac-12 stadiums and venues. It's not that hard to get into Mississippi and Alabama and Tennessee and Georgia. That would be, the money being the same. And I just think Florida State has always been more of a regional cultural fit in the SEC. You guys are very, very passionate about your football team, much like those SEC schools are.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's the cultural fit, but I mean, not that matters as much. I would think, me personally, and I'm only speaking for myself, I would prefer the SEC over that model, that example.
Partly, and I think what you're doing is reverting back to what we would all say. It's relative ease in terms of your lifestyle to be able to go back and forth, say, to the Grove or to Knoxville or to Gainesville, which we already do, or go to Athens, obviously, or go to
Austin.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd love to head on over to Baton Rouge and have some fun with the LSU fans, which we already do. We'll be playing LSU, and it's not that far away now, buddy.
That was his
100 and what?
4 months? What is it? No, less than that. It's less than 4 months. It's like 3.5 months.
115 days, 140. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting game, because that's a game that if you win it, all of a sudden you allow yourself to think about college football playoff.
And maybe you qualify for the playoff. You go 12-0, you're number 2 in the country. And then you tell them, unless y'all blow up that grant of rights deal, we ain't going. Then you have all the leverage. We're not getting you that playoff money, ACC. We're not going to compete. We're not going to fly out there.
All right, here we go. Questions from the audience. How lucky is FSU? This is from Joshua. How lucky is FSU to have a strong AD and overall stable program at this point with everything going on with the ACC? Can you imagine with Willie or Jimbo was still here? Yeah, with the way things ended with Jimbo, certainly it was a program in disarray, a culture that was soured. Obviously, things never got off on the right foot for Willie.
Yeah.
So Florida State was losing on and off the field at that time. Now Florida State is winning on and off the field, and it's really in a strong position from a athletic department standpoint. I think they finally have a lot of good people in place.
Yeah, they do. And it's certainly
also the shifting of the boosters and the way things worked out.
I think, maybe Michael Alford probably wanted to throw down the gauntlet earlier than he did, but coming off a 5-7 season, probably didn't feel like the right time to do that. And I don't think that's the happenstance or complete coincidence that he had that board of trustees meeting, and the way it was structured coming off a 10-3 season probably wasn't a coincidence.
Yeah, a little bit easier to pound your chest.
Yeah, absolutely. And because, look, man, the numbers speak for themselves. And when Florida State's good, eyeballs are everywhere.
Well, those ratings, that's empirical. Like you don't have to sit there and say, well, I don't think anything. These numbers are what they are. This is the fact.
If you had Florida State, like number 5 Florida State versus number 3 Georgia, or number 1 Georgia, that would be the highest rated game in the country all year.
When do you see the ratings for the FSU, LSU?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's 2 top 10 teams, 2 5
Yeah.
teams. It'll be an enormous rating. Last year was an enormous rating.
Yes.
And neither one of them were ranked.
It was top 4, if I recall.
Yeah, and
most
neither
watched
one
games
were
of the
ranked.
year. Yeah.
In the most watched Sunday night game in 10 years or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, Florida State is they just bring a lot of eyeballs and a lot of ratings. I was thinking about this too when I was driving over here. Because there have been people, there's North Carolina media and everybody that says if Florida State had been better,
oh, it's our fault.
It's Florida State's fault for not being good the last 5 years. And the counter to that is Florida State from 2012 to mid 2015 had the best program in the United States. It still took a work of Congress and an act of God to even get a network for this school, and that was all Florida State. Yeah. Like it was on the back of Florida State.
And Clemson hadn't
just
started
to get
their
a
run
network.
yet. Yeah,
I mean, and that's how long it took just for that to happen. And Florida State was the best program in the country. So whose fault was it then? Florida State did its work. It's done its work. It's made itself an iconic brand.
Yes.
So yeah, there needs to be in another conference. Probably.
Bishop writes, I know the baseball season has been a hard one. Last night, Cal Raleigh hit home runs from both sides of the plate at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
This got me thinking. What's the greatest feat you have seen a former Nole accomplish in Major League Baseball? Well, Buster Posey won 3 World Series, an
singular
MVP.
Feat. Singular feat.
All right. Well,
what do you think?
So not a seasonal award.
Not even a season thing. It's got to be like one
You're
game.
You're not going to say Dion flying and playing football and baseball on the same day.
That's a pretty good one,
That's
man.
a pretty good one.
Not the same day. The fact that he hit a home run and scored a touchdown in the same week.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball home run and then scored a touchdown on a punt return.
It's pretty good.
That's got to be it, right?
I would think it's probably.
I wasn't at either, but that has to. I mean, who scores a touchdown in the NFL and hits a home run in Major League Baseball? And he was the second best.
I mean, Bo Jackson did.
But he didn't do it because he wouldn't do both simultaneously. You know what I mean?
Coward.
Like I know, big baby. Dion would. So I would say that, man, hitting a home run. That.
Well, but wait a minute. So yes, because you're compounding. You're taking the two.
If it's
football, just a baseball accomplishment, hitting a home run is whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's still amazing. I'd love to hit a home run in a Major League Baseball game, of course. But lots of people have. So no, I don't know. I don't know what it would be.
Nobody's thrown a no-hitter, have they? Or
from Florida State
game? No, I wouldn't think.
No, Paul Wilson never achieved.
He did not get to the no-hitter.
Yeah, it never happened. I don't think.
JD Drew, I'm pretty sure is a part of 2 different teams that hit 4 home runs in a row. He was part of. He did it with the Dodgers and the
Cardinals.
Red Sox.
Oh, the Red Sox. Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty crazy feat. That doesn't happen a lot. 4 home runs in a row has happened probably 15 times in the history of baseball. And JD was a part of 2 of them.
He also hit a prodigious home run to straightaway center in Boston in the playoffs in their run.
Yeah,
to the world.
He had some power.
Well, I mean that one to center. I mean, it's the high part where the fence comes in from the low part and then the highest part of the wall. He hit that part. It was crushed.
Yeah,
that's a better home run.
Probably, but I mean, just 2 4 in a row home run. And Buster, I mean, choose something for Buster.
He was
awesome.
Won an MVP, won a World Series MVP,
won a batting title,
won comeback player of the year, rookie of the year. Yeah, he did it. He did a lot of things.
Yeah,
well, Buster Posey did. Scott says, how would you rank the current ACC teams in relation to how coveted they would be to the Big 12 to the Big 2 if the conference disbanded? Florida State and Clemson are 1A and 1B.
I think 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I know Clemson's been a better program, but Clemson lately, is not as popular a program.
They are not. The ratings tell you that. Exactly.
But I think it's 1 and 2 easily.
Florida State, Clemson. And then from there, is it North Carolina?
I was going to say, is it Carolina, Virginia?
Carolina? Well, when you talk about desirous, I think the SEC is desirous to be.
You're always talking about desirous.
Oh, that's my word right there.
Desirous.
Are you desirous?
Yeah.
So Virginia, they want to be in that. It's a market that would matter to them.
I still think Carolina may.
I just like that we're not saying Miami.
No, it's not Miami, man. We were talking during the break. If you're not the biggest football draw in your own city, I don't know that you necessarily belong in one of these. Pitt doesn't belong maybe in the conversation. Miami is clearly not as popular as the Dolphins. Not that I'm not trying to poke fun at Miami because they've had a great history, and the rivalry of Florida State in the 90s was one of the best. It's what makes college football great. Miami has had a great program, but they don't matter as much from a rating standpoint.
It's Florida State, it's Clemson, it's North Carolina, it's Virginia, it's Miami, it's Louisville.
I would put Miami in front of Virginia.
Okay, fine.
Because
flip flop the two if you want. That's fine.
How about if Miami became Miami again?
Well, we've been waiting.
Well, I know, but
for 20 plus years.
If they're in the Big Ten or the SEC, the Big Ten thinks oh man, if we give Miami all this money, they are going to become Miami again. And think about, because Miami, when they're good,
really good,
is great television.
Yes.
So that might be the appeal of maybe even bumping up Miami to 3, is because when they're operating at peak efficiency, they're a bigger
draw football wise than North Carolina. So if you want to put Miami 3rd, you can. They haven't mattered. They've never won the conference. The only time they played for the conference title, they got shellacked, and that was the one and only time they played.
I think did they score a touchdown in that game?
Got housed. By
I know.
Clemson.
I'm trying to think if they've scored a touchdown in the championship game.
So there's that. But where it gets interesting is when you start getting the teams like NC State, Pitt, Virginia Tech. Has anybody suffered a greater downgrade in reputation than Virginia Tech in the last 50 years in sports? Like, Virginia Tech is irrelevant.
Yeah.
This is a team Florida State played for the national title. This is a team that rattled off great season after great season, players that were nationally known in the NFL.
Good season after good season.
Yeah,
and
really good season.
Not great season.
Well, I mean, really, really good season.
Yeah, they were a good program.
Yeah. They mattered.
But they mattered for about a fit. If we look at it for the in the history of college football, they mattered from like 97 to 12.
They have to be scared to death right now.
Of
Where
course.
are they going to land?
Who
the hell cares about Virginia Tech?
And what bothers me about it, and not because Virginia Tech has been a great program for 70 years, it's just that those fans do care.
Oh, they're passionate.
They are rabid. They are good college football
One
fans.
of the few real atmospheres in the ACC. The best atmospheres in this league are Florida State and Clemson, and probably Virginia Tech 3rd.
Yeah, they cared. Like West Virginia cares. Like, they care. Those are good, passionate fans.
Those hillbillies are out there burning couches ready to go, baby.
They're burning couches every day getting ready for football.
Can't wait. It's a tough task to rank all these teams. I think suffice to say, we're going to say that last, from a football standpoint, is that Duke?
Duke, yeah. Yep.
Followed by Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech's
right there with
right above them.
They're
Georgia Tech at least has that recruiting base, but they're right above them barely. And then, I don't know, man. Boston College. Boston,
below Duke.
Below Duke.
Yeah.
It's Duke, 50 yards of crap, Shawshank sewage, and then Boston College. They need to get out of the college athletics business.
Boston College is down there wading through it. Just trying, help me, Duke.
Just give me your hand.
Give me your hand. And then there's Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech's like laughing at Boston College. They're so far above.
I never thought we'd live in a time where it is obvious that Wake Forest has much more cachet than several teams in the ACC.
It's sad.
It is sad. All right, next question. R.A. Andrews writes, gentlemen, I heard Ira actually entered the portal last week mid-show demanding more jalapeno and cheddar. And he is taking visits at Jacksonville Sports Radio. Is he still loved? Yeah, he did leave us early last week on Seminole Headlines, and now he's not even here. What gives with Ira?
Yeah,
is he sending a message? Is he too wanting to leave the conference?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Folks are wondering, like, have we ever had somebody just leave the show you've never left in the middle, and I
never have left in the middle. So thankfully, we've not had to. There've been no emergencies.
Sure, but this wasn't really an emergency.
Not at all. No, he forgot.
We want people to know that it wasn't an emergency, but back to back, it doesn't look good. It looks like we're making excuses, almost like something is going down with Headlines. That's what people are thinking.
It's not. Everything's fine.
That's what
I assure you. That's what we would say, even if there was.
So,
but there isn't. But there isn't.
But no. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens next week.
If you need me to, I'll lay it bare. Last week was just a parental failure on Ira's part.
Correct.
That he had to go make amends for.
Yeah.
He betrayed his daughter in a moment that she needed him.
Couldn't get into the house.
Clearly
couldn't wait an extra 15 minutes.
Had to be at work.
Dad's working.
Yeah. So he said, I'm up. I'm out. I got to go. I said, Corey and I will hold it down.
Some would say the dad would be like, well, my job is more important than whatever your job is. So
you're
give me 15 minutes and I'm leaving.
Jiffy Lube ain't going to get it done.
So, but no. So Ira, again, as we're sitting here right now, we think Ira is still a part of the show.
Does Jiffy Lube still exist?
Yeah, I go.
Is it a place?
Yeah, sure. Maybe they might have all been bought out and been called like 10-minute oil change or something.
That's what they are, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Are there Jiffy Lubes?
Ira's daughter, rest assured, does not work at one.
No, I just made that up.
That was a weird example to use.
I'm just saying, it sounds like I'm belittling the fine folks at Jiffy Lube, and I feel bad about it. I
didn't
mean it that
work.
way.
Yeah.
Real hardworking people. Yeah. I could do things I don't know how to do. I don't know how to do
and Ira is still part of the show. I just texted him. And I hope you guys believe that.
Kyle writes, gentlemen, huge fan. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. No, that was not a question. It was R.A. worried about the status of Seminole Headlines and Ira in general. Kyle writes, gentlemen, huge fan of the show. Great work as always. While not rooting for this, if Jordan can't start for each and any of the following games, who starts and do we win or lose? It could be a different QB for each depending on where it falls in the season. Here are the games. Clemson, Pitt, Miami, Florida. Listen.
I don't want to play that game.
First of all, Tate Rodemaker is starting every one of those games.
You would think, unless he just completely falls on his face.
So if we played Clemson in week 4 without the services of Jordan Travis and Tate was terrible, would that, I don't know, I don't think that would mean they're off of him for life.
I wouldn't either.
Now, maybe by the time you got to Florida, if he had sucked in 3 different games, you might say, we got to go a different route.
Yeah, but I don't even want to entertain this question. I don't think it's smart to get that out in the universe.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it would be Tate in all of them unless he just completely fell on his face.
Sean writes, what's it going to take to find an intern that can upload show segments to Spotify in the correct order? I love you guys. Don't know what I would do without Warchant podcast while I'm working in Gainesville now. I didn't know that they were going up out of
Whose
order.
fault is that,
Director
Jeff?
Matthew, are they going up out of order?
He shook his head.
He's saying no,
but it
he's
wasn't
telling Sean to suck it.
It wasn't a emphatic shake of the head.
Yeah, like maybe he's thinking Ben is betraying us.
Yeah,
right.
so
Could be Ben.
We'll
it's
get to
not
the
Director
bottom of it.
Matthew. I know that.
We'll get to the bottom of it.
Which FSU football SEC away games are you most looking forward to? This is from D Snipes.
Ole Miss. I've never been there.
Never been to the
That's a
Grove.
one-off. I don't think I need to keep going there, but that is the one I want to go to because I've never been there. And then after that,
it's LSU.
And then after that, it's LSU.
Yeah,
every
it's
time.
LSU. Buddy.
Yeah. No, I know, but I've been to Baton Rouge multiple times. I've never been to Oxford.
That's fair.
I want to cross that off the bucket list.
Have you ever been to Knoxville?
Yep.
It's a great atmosphere.
I went there for the Florida-Tennessee game in '96 when it was 1-2. It
was a great game.
No, it wasn't. Florida got up 35-0.
Oh, I thought it was. Was it the next year?
Next year was
a really good game.
No, it was 96. Florida was 1. Tennessee was 2. Peyton Manning was the quarterback, and Florida was up 35-0 in the second quarter.
And you were like, now I'm stuck in Tennessee.
Yeah, and then I was like,
35-0.
And the Noles got to play this team in 3 months. That's not going to be pretty. But
did you go hang out with the Volunteer Navy for the game?
No, no.
That's
a
really
noon
cool.
game because back then all the big games started at noon, so we rolled up right when the game was starting.
Hot as Hades?
They all left. They all left at halftime, as you can imagine.
Oh, 35-0 will do it to you.
Yeah, but cool story. Tennessee came back and actually lost 35-29. They made it a game.
So think about all those people that left. They'd be a little bit like those that were not at the Choke-a-Doke, who said they were.
The difference is
400,000 people apparently at that game between Florida State and Florida.
The difference is Florida did not win at Choke-a-Doke.
That is
they
correct.
Still won in Knoxville.
That is correct. And it was a certain level of hubris from the head coach who decided, no, I'm going to keep throwing the ball.
Yeah.
My man, you can run 3 times right up the middle. You're going to win this game.
Yeah.
But that's not the way he wanted to win.
No, he wanted to put 40
He wanted to put
up.
it. Yeah, he wanted to put it
up
on
the record. Yeah,
that's right. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Discover the taste of Peru at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. Con amor y pasión, with love and passion, Café de Martín is a fine Peruvian dining experience in an approachable, comfortable, cultural-rich space built for creating memories to last a lifetime. Enjoy happy hour daily with a full bar, handcrafted cocktails, beers on draft and bottle, paired with a selection of Peruvian tapas like crispy fried yuca with house-made huancaína sauce, carefully selected charcuterie boards, a selection of fresh ceviches, and so much more. It's Café de Martín and El Bar. Escape to Peru, a country of great culture, beauty, and food right here in the capital city. Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course, the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers, and that's not all, Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
All right. I see the chat has been invaded by a Kansas fan.
Oh, well, let's
That's a fruitless endeavor to be a fan of Kansas when we're talking football.
Yeah, that's fine.
Here we go. Let's get to this. Next question. Which FSU football? Nope, already answered that. What prevents 8 teams from voting to dissolve the ACC, realigning with each other, plus a few other teams, and creating a new super conference? Yeah, this has kind of been a similar themed question. I think it goes back to what you described earlier, Corey, which is the bad taste it leaves in the mouth of many who say, I don't want to go in the SEC, guys. I want to leave the ACC, but I don't want to go to the SEC, and it doesn't make sense to go to the Big Ten.
Yeah, from a
geographic
and weather standpoint, it doesn't. Yeah, I think it's just people they would rather have their own big super conference than deal with the SEC. But the truth of the matter is, you're almost certainly going to have to be in one of the other. To matter in college football, you're going to have to be in one or the other.
When does the transfer portal for ACC schools to other conferences begin?
Yeah, good question.
If FSU, Clemson, and Notre Dame were to anchor a brand new conference, see, we're getting a lot of this.
Well, Notre Dame they're not part of the equation. If they were part of the equation, then yeah, that is it's a really strong anchor. Florida State, Notre Dame, that's a really
Florida State,
strong
Notre
anchor.
Dame, Clemson's a good anchor. You are going to need another 9 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to sell it,
well, like Louisville, NC State.
You want Amazon or somebody to buy it and circulate your games. Yeah. This person does ask this, though. What matters more, a cultural fit, proximity, or just the dollar bills?
I mean, at the end of the day, the dollar bills.
The dollar bills is the answer. You start with that. But, yeah, I mean, I think it matters. I don't know about cultural fit, but I think it certainly matters the proximity to these games.
There's probably the question is, how much more money would the Big Ten have to give you if you had offers on the table for both the SEC and the Big Ten? How much more money would the Big Ten have to offer you to join their conference? What's that rate? Is it 10 million? Is it 5 million? Who decides? Because I'm just telling you, guys, I know it's fun to think about making all this money not in the SEC, but you aren't going to have to play Northwestern and Chicago in November, or Purdue in November, or have to go to where is Iowa? Iowa City?
Iowa City.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool for their when they wave to the
That's awesome.
hospital. That's a really
also
cool
that
tradition.
is a really cool place to see a game.
And they love their football.
They
in
love
Iowa.
football. They're great fans.
Because good Lord, they have to be with that offense. They have to watch.
That's a toughie.
Oh my goodness,
Kirk Ferentz' son.
Oh my, making Jeff Bowden look like
a
Bill
genius.
Walsh.
Yeah, going the old 9 route over and over and over again. You think FSU will have a say if and when the ACC dissolves of deciding between the Big Ten or the SEC, or is it just where they're going to be placed based on the money? Ryan, I mean, of course they have a say in theory, but I mean, you're leveraging your iconic brand in the hopes of receiving a weighty offer financially, obviously. And those two conferences are the two who have the weightiest of offers.
Yes.
To present. So it's one of those two. And, I don't know how that's going to work. I would like to think that they probably already do know that there would be an invite.
Yeah.
From the SEC or the Big Ten. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that
it would be asinine
for
these
go to war over
conferences,
this.
but for neither one of these conferences to be interested in Florida State. Like, if you think about a game of musical chairs, Florida State is the team that can high step and take its time and look at its watch and get on the phone and step outside. They know when the music's playing, there will be a chair saved for them. There aren't, out of all the possibilities of the free agents out there, who is even remotely, is it Notre Dame number 1 and then Florida State is 2? Like, they're bigger than Oregon. They're bigger than Washington.
Yeah.
They're bigger than Miami and Clemson. They're bigger than everybody that's left when we're talking about college football and ratings. So I would think they feel comfortable.
That they're
I don't even
going
know
to
if that was the question, but they will be asked. These conferences will be interested in them.
Okay, what do we got here? I haven't done any Facebook questions, so that's
what?
That's
go.
I've really just absolutely screwed the Facebook audience. If you were in Link's shoes, what would be your strategy with this year's baseball team towards a drastic improvement for 2024? That's from Butch.
Okay, that was Facebook.
That's Facebook.
Well, go get some guys.
Go get some players.
They can pitch. Yeah. I mean, you got you got 4 guys that you feel pretty good about in the lineup, 4 or 5 guys maybe. But other than that, you've got to, I don't know if you go the JUCO route or you make sure everybody knows the portal is wide open and you have spots available. I have to imagine one of those kids at Florida Gulf Coast would like to play baseball at Florida State. I mean, I know they were all super duper seniors. They're all 29 years old, but maybe one of them has a year of eligibility left. But I'm just saying, if you're a really good hitter or a really good pitcher from around the country, and I thought Link made a good point. When I talked to him after the game
I was
on
going to ask
Sunday.
you talked about him and it was a weird moment because they had just beaten the number 1 team in the country, but Link is clearly displeased with what was a disastrous campaign.
Right.
Yeah.
He was talking about the fact that they knew their season was over. The Florida State hasn't been in a position where they knew their season was over with a week left to play in the regular season.
Ever.
So since at least the way the NCAA is currently constructed, they've never dealt with this. So he did say, he's like, he was talking about the players, and he's like, you guys owe it to your fans, you owe it to yourselves to play hard and play well this last week. And he goes, because there are millions of people that would trade spots with us in a second to play at Florida State. And I think that's kind of the line of thinking and the mindset you have when you open up this portal. Like, there are kids that are they've had better seasons. They're on teams that have had better records and are probably better than Florida State right now. But it's different getting to play at Florida State.
Yeah, no, it's
being a baseball player at
with great
Missouri
history,
isn't as fun as being a baseball player at Florida State. It just isn't. So that he needs to go flood the roster. I think 7 or 8 or 9.
Oh, more than that.
Portal guys.
Oh,
you're gonna have some high school kids too, and you're gonna have some kids stay.
I'm just talking about total numbers.
Oh,
yeah,
15, man, half the roster,
maybe 20. Yeah,
at least half the roster. So yeah, But I would make sure people know the portal is open and it's fun to play baseball at Florida State.
Bob wants to know, hello, gentlemen, will FSU do a proper ceremony at a game to honor Gene Deckerhoff? Also, a shout-out to Luke Laux. It's cool living in Sacto and having Laux with the Sacramento Kings. I talked to Luke Laux recently.
Okay.
I got to get him on the show. He's doing some heavy-duty lifting there, man, coaching up that offense, and they scored a lot.
They did.
Scored a lot of points. As far as Gene Deckerhoff, I'm sure they will.
Oh, man,
I know they had
I mean,
already a ceremony. They're going to do something. I would think.
I mean, they did it. I think their ceremony they did was before the spring game last year, something like that. Like they had them on the field. Or they? It just
It was something.
It was not good. It was not.
It wasn't what.
It wasn't warrant. Gene Deckerhoff warranted something better than that,
Cool,
and
of
I
course.
would love for them to do something like that. I'm not holding my breath. It doesn't. I mean, again, where's Mickey Andrews' statue? Where's Mickey Andrews' way? There's just, you're here for 40 years. Great. Thanks. And that's a wrap. Unless your name's Bowden or Dunlap. Then you're everywhere.
Well, you can't overlook the great Al Dunlap.
Well, I mean, the money talks, man. Money talks.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Continues in a moment.
Local news now.
Federal prosecutors moved to drop charges against former Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum and his associate Sharon Letman Hicks. Gillum's attorney David Marcus said he feels what led to the prosecution's change of heart was a letter from the jury explaining why they were deadlocked. Right now, both Andrew Gillum and Sharon Letman Hicks' teams are waiting for a judge's signature to dismiss the indictment against them. Gillum and Letman Hicks were on trial for fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud in April. The jury was deadlocked 10-2. The two were accused of misusing campaign funds for their own personal gain. An adult male died from his injuries following a car crash that took place Sunday evening at the intersection of North Monroe Street and John Knox Road. The crash incident caused all northbound lanes of Monroe Street from Silver Slipper Lane to Allen Road to close. The roadway was reopened later that evening. The investigation remains open and active. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. Highs around 86, southwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight, lows level off around 70, partly cloudy skies. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Highs level off around 87, cloudy. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 87.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Hey, this is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Jerry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Usually, you need to have Heisman moments throughout the year to make a true run at the award, in addition to the stats. In 2022, J-Trav had two incredible moments. Which was your favorite? The LSU defender delivering the shot to the face mask as he launches a dime to Pokey for a touchdown, hopping up and celebrating after, or two, making the entire UF defense miss to get called down at the 1 instead of the touchdown. Multiple other moments scattered throughout the year, but those bookend moments would have been a perfect launch and close to a Heisman campaign.
Yeah, I would say, see,
the mini runs against Florida.
The two runs he had against Florida were the Heisman moments. I still think that was Pokey's moment. I mean, it's nice that Jordan got it up there, but those were great catches by Pokey. The runs against Florida were all Jordan Travis. That was just a special athlete doing special things. Kind of reminded you of, I know he's much faster, but Jameis's run against Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Sky.
Yeah.
Fame picture.
It's just stuff that winners do, that guys like that do, that special athletes do. And those would have been a great culmination. And I think with Jordan Travis, somebody asked us about this on Wake Up Warchant, which you can also listen to daily, folks. Great show with Aslan and I.
Daily?
Daily. Mostly. Well, during the off season, it's, what is it, tri-weekly, 3 times a week? Sometimes. It's mostly daily. But they asked, about his Heisman chances, but what kind of numbers he would have to put up to win the Heisman. And I'm like, I don't know that that's even relevant, because the numbers nowadays in college football are so goofy and astronomical. You can't even really.
It is hard.
It's hard to even gauge what they are. And Caleb, and what's his name at USC, is going to put up staggering numbers anyway. As long as he has good numbers, he has to have moments like that, though. The Florida game, for a guy like Jordan Travis in the ACC to win a Heisman, who's not like, the number 1 pick in the draft, he's going to have those special play moments, I think. That, like the ones against Florida, would be Heisman moments.
Yeah, I do not think Jordan Travis is going to win the Heisman, and I don't think it's going to be that close. I think that you've already pinpointed a guy that's going to have astronomical numbers, because they all do.
But they're not going to. They don't want to give it to him again.
No, they don't. But he will be in the conversation, and he will take votes. We'll see what Drake May does. He's an elite quarterback who will put up big numbers. The kid out at Washington will put up big numbers.
That's my point. Everybody puts up big numbers.
Yeah.
You've got to have those special moments in big games with people watching. If he has not just
he's going to have to go nuts
yards
against LSU, he's going to have to go nuts against Clemson, and he'll have to,
But not just like 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, because I think that's
plays.
It's got the fantastic plays. The ridiculous plays are going to want to, are going to make him, will make him stand out.
Todd is ending his question with "I love you all" at the end, so this makes reading the first part of his question a little bit easier.
Okay, good.
Hello, my fellow confirmed losers. Why do I still have trouble trusting this team's high potential next year? Is it a hangover effect from the lost decade and the Jimbo Willie debacle? Is there something you can prescribe me to trust again? I love you all. Yeah, man, the offense. I give you the Florida State offense, which is going to be one of the best 10 offenses in all of college football next year, period. It just is. Probably higher than that. Probably top 5. You have a Heisman caliber quarterback under center. You have a deep and sizable offensive line. 12
Thunder,
deep.
by the way?
It is.
Oh, my goodness.
Every day at this time. We go off the air, you know what happened, folks. 12 players deep on the offensive line. It's insane.
Yep.
You actually have a tight end room with appreciable talent, like really talented players in said room that will contribute greatly. You have a depth of talent at running back. You're 5 deep at running back, 4 deep. I mean, if Keziah Holmes is healthy, you're 5 deep. So you just have an awful lot of weapons. You got Johnny Wilson out there. That's a matchup nightmare, and you've got enough. I'd like them to bring in another receiver, and who knows, they may still. But, I just think this offense is going to light defense after defense after defense up. The only time I see them getting slowed down, and you have the one game that you can never pinpoint that you're just like, well, they're not on it today, or it's inclement weather or something.
And you are opening with a real team.
I was going to say, you have a very good LSU team.
If you're opening with like Georgia Tech or somebody like that, I think you'd feel better. That you might just not be at your best because it's the season opening game, and most teams aren't. And that might be the biggest game of the year. It just happens to be your first one. So I get the skepticism, but yeah, man, I get the, not pessimism, because that wasn't necessarily a pessimistic question, but that you have suffered a lot of losing and a lot of heartache over the last 5 years. It's hard to fully commit.
Oh yeah, and
if you keep getting broken up with by your by significant others,
you build a wall.
You're just like, okay, I'm not going to trust you anymore. I'm not going to trust
getting hurt like this.
Yeah.
I will say this: if I wanted to poke holes in my own argument about why you shouldn't say,
we don't want to do that. That's not what this show's about.
Do you want me to do that?
No.
You want me to poke holes? Because I can.
I know we don't.
I can give you a lot of reasons.
We got 115 days for you to do that.
All right. Hello, gents. Let's talk punter. Alex Mastromano's average has declined for each of his 3 years here.
Are we 3 years?
Yeah, it seems like a long time.
Yeah.
I like that kid. He's a nice kid.
3 years, though, yeah.
Are we expecting an improvement this year, and who is on deck to be our next weapon at that position? Well, I have no idea, but he punted well in spring.
He punted all right in spring. He punts with both feet.
He got bigger.
But he's bigger. Yeah, he's definitely
bigger. No, I thought he kicked, on average, punted little bit further.
I mean, he hit some bombs in practice. When he's not doing the rolling to his right and rolling to his left, he just.
Which I wish they'd stop doing.
But when he just punts it, he punts like they're 50-yarders. I mean, he's punting high. But yeah, man, who knows? You hope you don't have to. Look, you won a national championship with Case and Beatty. And the reason was because
Jimbo described as dead.
Yeah, but like you don't, maybe you're not going to be punting a lot. The 2013
they didn't
team
punt a lot,
didn't punt a whole bunch, so maybe that'll be where you're at in 2023. But he's not great. He's not an NFL.
He's
punter.
no Ray Guy.
No, he's no Ron Stark. He's an average punter. But
is he even a Danny White?
Is Danny White a punter?
He was a quarterback who also punted.
The bigger question is the kicker, because those are real points. That affects game plan and mindset. If you can't trust your kicker.
You don't remember Danny White?
I remember him as a quarterback
for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
but he also punted. You didn't know that?
I don't remember.
Come on,
that.
buddy.
Did he hold too on kicks?
I don't think he held. He might have held.
Joe Theismann held.
I believe it. He was Theismann before he was
Theismann. Until he became a Heisman candidate.
That's right. Brad writes, whenever conference realignment is brought up, this is funny, Corey, you're going to like this.
All right.
That's a code for get off your phone.
Sorry.
Whenever conference realignment is brought up, there seems to always be the discussion of academics. Whether a particular school lines up academically with the other schools they would potentially be in a conference with. Why?
Exactly.
Why is this even a thing?
I'm with you.
These are athletic conferences. I don't see what importance there is whatsoever. I don't believe in the history of the world that employer has ever given a Louisville grad a job because they're in the same conference with the academically prestigious Duke University.
Yeah. 100%, man.
You are all over it, Brad. Yep. That is correct. It doesn't matter. It's just something to say for the members for people who went to those schools in that conference. They're already kind of looking down on you as an outsider when you want your team to join their conference. So the way they do it is they feign like that they're offended at the thought of Florida State joining their conference or whomever, Now, was I greatly offended as somebody who takes great pride in Florida State's academic standards?
Which are much higher now than they were when you were matriculating through the school.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. We don't have to go there.
Sorry, that was my fault.
The point would be this. Was I offended that we invited Louisville into this conference? I mean, that godforsaken, sorry-ass excuse for an academic institution has no right.
Degrees in pizza.
That's basically a junior college.
Let's settle down.
But they are. But, I understood their value athletically, so I put it behind
100%.
me. I put it behind me.
They showed where their chips were when they kept Rick Pitino after he impregnated a woman on a table in a restaurant with an assistant coach below the table.
Yeah.
Like it was
cheered him on.
It was seedy, sketchy,
all
gross
kinds
stuff.
Of seedy, yeah.
But they kept them. Louisville knows what
Billy Minotti Hall.
But we love Louisville because they care. That shows they care. And look, the Big Ten, it was always about the AAU, right?
Right. Well, then Nebraska got stripped the second they joined the league.
They didn't care. Nebraska's still there.
Still don't
and
care.
I couldn't imagine like the Northwestern president or the Iowa president when they get offered Florida State and Clemson. Like, no, they don't. They don't fit our
guys. What are we doing?
They don't fit our academic profile. It's like, okay, but they win championships in the only sport that matters, sir, or madam. They win championships in the only sport that matters, and we need them because football drives everything. And so, yes, 10 years ago, 20 years ago,
it might have mattered.
It does not matter at all anymore. It's what,
of course, it does.
I mean, it's
semi-pro football.
It's the second biggest sport in the United States behind the National Football League.
We're going to take a quick break, come back and wrap it up. Seminole Headlines 93.3. Well, it's a late break,
all right,
but I owe it to the people.
Okay, all right.
93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
At Pinch A Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee straighten a smile, but for orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Major League Baseball is finally back in full swing, and MyBookie is going to be your one-stop shop for all your betting needs. With a wide range of betting options, including money lines, run totals, and futures, MyBookie gives you plenty of ways to bet on your favorite teams and players. You can also take advantage of a brand-new MyBookie Money Bag, which gives you the chance to secure a bet on your favorite team or player at insanely boosted odds. Sign up today at MyBookie and use promo code WARCHANT to secure a first deposit bonus of up to $1,000. It's simple. You deposit $200 and play with $300 instantly. Just use promo code WARCHANT to claim your bonus. So if you're a baseball fan looking to add even more excitement to the new season, look no further than MyBookie. Sign up now. Get ready to experience the thrill of baseball betting like never before. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie. Flawless read.
That was great. And now we're done with the show.
Staring at
I know. I was staring. Yeah.
You were trying to
put pressure on you.
You were, but I just
like Earl Woods with Tiger.
Just crazy. The focus.
Man,
the laser-like
you're
focus.
Great. You're becoming great.
Ryan writes, is Jim Phillips the new Baghdad Bob? That was always the best.
Nothing to see here.
Everything's
we're
all right.
controlling this war.
We are dominating.
Yeah, they're almost done. They're about to pull out.
I wonder what Jim phrasing, sir.
Sorry.
I wonder what Jim Phillips is doing. That's been the question of the day.
I mean, probably doing like, guys,
is he doing a running around trying to look busy thing? You know, like
he doesn't have time to talk to you.
Yeah. I see you over there. Sorry.
Anytime he walks into a lobby or the hallway of that Amelia. By the way, for the conference with no money, got to stay at the Ritz-Carlton on Amelia Island. You have to.
Yeah.
Just they don't want to give these schools money to compete with Alabama, but let's stay at the Ritz for a week.
He does the thing where he goes,
but he's guys, I'm on a phone call. I got to go. Yeah, all right.
His phone over and over again,
like I do when I'm walking through a tailgate, and I don't want to be bothered with all my fans.
Well, I always tell you when you leave Hotel Indigo to go walk through the masses up to the press box, make sure you have your cell phone out.
Well, yeah,
because I know you're going to get mobbed, and I just tell you do the thing that I do, Corey. Right. Just let them know I can't.
It's a big important call.
I'm on the phone with the commissioner.
Yeah,
I'm telling Jim what to do. He's at a loss. Michael writes, boys, will there be any official ceremony where Matthew Thomas places his single-horned crown on Destin Hill, or is that more of a behind-the-scenes thing? Unicorns for that ass.
At least Matthew Thomas showed up as a freshman, and then it was always a wonder if he never really knew playing. But to be gone for 2 years, but yeah, that's a good point.
Ted writes,
Thomas. He played in the league, I think, for a couple of years.
A couple minutes. Ted writes, hello, gents, from Bartlett, Tennessee.
All right.
Just wanted to say that we enjoy your shows and all the content you guys provide for us. Sounds like the Magnificent Seven is the real deal. Now let's find number 8 and get the hell up out of this sorry-ass conference. Thanks for all you guys do at Warchant, and as always, go Noles. Thanks, Ted. Not really a question, just an observation.
And we think 8 was, you said it was Louisville today.
Yeah. Looks like
the Elite 8, the Great 8.
Yeah. So say the ACC neighborhood ran into some imminent domain issues and the conference just magically got bulldozed tomorrow, writes Logan. The SEC and Big Ten are informed that they are able to pick up the top 8 ACC programs, but they have to select them in an alternating draft order. SEC wins the coin flip and gets the number 1 pick. Who do they take? Florida State.
Florida State.
The remaining ACC programs get picked up by the other conferences in a secondary draft. So which program is selected as the Mr. Irrelevant draft pick?
Boston College.
Trades are allowed if a conference wants to trade up or down. So if you didn't get FSU at number 1 and you're sitting at 2, you're taking Clemson. But then from there, you could see some trades. You could see some movement on the draft board.
Would you trade Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina for Florida State? Would you give the SEC those 3 if you got Florida State?
If you're the Big Ten?
Yeah.
And I'm giving them Miami, North Carolina, and Virginia?
And Clemson. Not Virginia, Clemson.
Clemson.
Or Florida State and Clemson, I feel like they're connected at the hip. Man.
Yeah,
they can't separate them.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I like the game, though. It's kind of fun to do.
I would trade everybody in the ACC for Florida State and Clemson.
The game to play is to sit down with your friends and get into the debate of, okay, let's say we got 48 teams that are going to be part of this massive new television world, and they're playing big boy semi-pro football. Who are the 48? Write them out.
Purdue.
We don't have
Rutgers.
time, buddy. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah, but do it. Sit there, because where it gets fun, when you get into the 40s, you gotta make some tough choices.
Yep.
You're like, really? You want them over?
There's some real list of like pros and cons.
Yeah,
like, okay, that's a big market, but they never do anything.
yeah.
Their fan base is terrible.
That's
our great
fun.
fan base, but small market. Yeah, I got it, man.
It's kind of a fun game. For Corey Clark,
fun. There's other fun games you can play.
It's a fun game.
Okay.
Just play it sometime. We'll play it while we're having beers together. Oh, no, I forgot. Water and vodka.
Water and vodka. Ira, we miss you, buddy. I can't wait to see you again.
Have fun on Amelia Island, Ira. I know you're over there just yucking it up, having fun, laughing at our asses. Good job, Director Matthew. And thanks for listening and watching, everybody. We appreciate you. Be well. Don't forget, Wake Up Warchant, Jeff Cameron Show tomorrow.